Okay, we're going to be reporting right here locally in Hermosa Beach, right where I'm sitting, for the September market of 2025. Reporting this in October because our data is up to date through September. And the first thing I want to look at when we're looking at Hermosa Beach inventory is how many homes are for sale versus what are sold. Currently, right now on the market, we're averaging about 38 homes on the market as of right now. And we have about 17 pending, which is pretty strong, but it's still down just a small percent over last year where we had 18 that pended in that or sold in that time frame. So we're seeing a pretty balanced market across Hermosa Beach as far as what it was from a year ago to what it is right now. So we're not seeing any dramatic increases or decreases for that matter. The one thing it does says home places under contract though in September 25 was 8 units, which was down 55%. So that was a significant number compared to last month. So we are seeing in this time of year, in September, a decline in the number of sales. We had a really busy summer. But if we move to the average price per square foot, how is that trending? Like, what have prices done? You know, are they dropping? Are they crashing? Are they going up? Are they flat? Well, we see a pretty steady rise happening in Hermosa Beach. It's a 12% rise year over year for average square foot price sold. We're seeing an average price square foot sold last year of $14.17 to where we now are at $15.87 for the previous 3 months, so July through September. That's a 12% increase. So that's pretty significant. It is not commensurate with what's happening in LA or the South Bay. We're probably seeing anywhere between a 2 to 4% appreciation rate. And the reason these numbers can vary in Hermosa Beach is because the amount of inventory that sells is very small. It's a small town. So you can have a couple anomalies, like a home on the Strand sold for $14 million recently, a really big number for that particular house, and that can skew the numbers on the high side. So I would look at those numbers with caution. The other factor to look at is average days on market. It's been a steady year. It's gone as high as over 70 days, which happens around the holidays, December, January, but it dropped right back down in March as we expect to under 30 days on the market. And so right now we're averaging just about 40 to 45 days on the market for homes in Hermosa Beach. So it's a pretty decent marketplace. 45 days or less would be considered a good real estate market for sellers, that is, if you're looking to sell your home. This is interesting. This trend is happening across the South Bay. And this is, I just call it seller expectation versus buyer expectation on price. So it's the average price for sale versus what it actually sells at. If you look at this chart, you can see a massive gap in July of last year. Sellers' expectations in July last year were through the roof. Buyers were below sea level on what they wanted to pay. They just weren't coming together. And you saw that over time, they finally came together in the holidays in December, and then they just fell apart again in the spring and summer, where we saw that gap between what sellers want, buyers want to pay. What we're seeing today, sellers' expectations are really getting in line with where the market really is. And buyers' expectations are leveling up a little bit because they're foreseeing the dropping of interest rates coming and possibly an increase in prices coming right following that. So that's why you're seeing those lines come together. And then I'll close out with months of inventory. We call this the absorption rate. The absorption rate is the number of homes that are for sale in the marketplace and how many months would it take for all that inventory to sell out if no other homes came for sale. And so what we're looking at here is between 3 and 5 months through the course of the year, right now about 4 months. So for Hermosa Beach specifically, 4 months of inventory in the market tells us we're in a balanced market. 1 to 3 months of inventory is definitely a seller's market. It means that inventory is moving fast. 4 to 5 months, it's a pretty balanced market, and it's exceeding 6 months, we're back to a buyer's market. So we're seeing a very balanced market right now in Hermosa Beach. Question is, what is forthcoming? We're going to see how this fourth quarter plays out, and I'll report back to you next month. But I'll also say we are going to do a live 2026 market forecast report in January. So stay tuned for that. I'll be putting out a link for that live event, which will be coming up in January. Thanks for watching.